summer of 1973, and to a disappearance that has never been explained. But that summer, innocence gave way to mystery, to fear. Surrounded by nature, it seemed like an innocent summer retreat. Valiska Youth Camp, in the northwestern region of the Soviet Union, near the dense forests close to the Latvian border, a youth camp was established. Valiska Camp was one of many youth camps established by the Soviet regime, meant to teach nature, discipline, and ideological loyalty. But Valiska's location was far more isolated than the others. The surrounding forest was dense and disorienting. Locals even referred to the area as the Dark Woods, a place where people lost their sense of direction and sometimes never came back. Irina Pavlenko was one of the quietest children in the camp. Her mother worked for the state. Her father had mysteriously vanished years earlier. Irina always kept a distance from others. But when it came to nature, especially the forest, she felt something strange, as if something in the trees was waiting for her. A secret, a calling only she could hear. On the morning of the fourth day, Irina was missing from her bed. At first, no one panicked. But as the hours passed, worry began to grow. Search efforts were launched. Local villagers, police units, volunteers, they all combed through the dense forest. Only one clue was found: a child's shoe, stuck deep in the mud just outside the campgrounds. The shoe belonged to Irina, but even more disturbing was the direction it pointed. It looked as if the child hadn't walked into the forest, but had been dragged. There were no footprints, only a chaotic trail, as if something had pulled her into the woods. Some campers reported hearing strange whispers coming from the forest that night. It sounded like a child's voice, but the words were impossible to understand. The camp director tried to suppress these stories to avoid panic, but with each passing night, the whispers seemed to come closer. On the seventh day of the search, the camp was permanently shut down. No other trace of Irina was ever found, and Valiska Camp was never reopened again. The place where the shoe was found had been marked as a restricted area on old Soviet maps. The reason for the restriction was never explained. Despite days of intense searching, no body, no other trace was ever discovered. The incident was officially recorded as a wild animal attack. Irina's family received only a short, cold letter, and the case was quietly closed. But as the years passed, strange events began to occur around the abandoned camp. At night, the sound of a child crying could be heard from deep within the forest. On misty days, a figure was sometimes seen, a little girl carrying an old teddy bear. When paranormal investigators visited the area, their equipment malfunctioned. Their recordings captured unexplained sounds, shifting shadows and flickering figures. Irina Pavlenko was never found again. But was this merely a tragic disappearance? Or was there something much darker hidden there? Something the Soviets kept secret from the world? Would you dare to enter that forest?